Hey all, Brian S. Pratt here. So why doesn't James do healing spells? That's a question I get all the time. And for those who don't know, I write fantasy novels. James is my main character in my series, The Morside Saga. 7 books long, very popular. Anyway, before I get into that, if you're new to this channel, please hit subscribe. Like this video if you like it. And comment if you have something to say or a question to ask. I'll be happy to respond. And if it's more than a short response, maybe I'll make another video about it. Anyway, back to why doesn't James do magic. James, in my world, is able to manipulate the magical forces. He's like a magic user. I call them mages in my books. Well, anyway, the way magic works is, in order for a mage to manipulate magic, he has to understand what he wants to accomplish. He has to understand that at a very deep level. Now, James is not a doctor. He's never taken medical classes. So he doesn't understand everything that would be involved in healing. Say, okay, now suppose you get a sword thrust through the stomach, right? In medieval times, that's almost that's practically a death sentence, right? Because infection, everything else. Now, suppose he tried to heal that. In his mind, would he understand every point that was cut, every nerve that needed to be fixed properly, every muscle that needed to be fixed properly, how everything works together? Or would he think, heal it, as in stop the bleeding? And magic, going by the simplest directions, might just make one big mass of tissue that ends up killing him because it gets in the way of everything else. Because magic doesn't have any intelligence, doesn't have any direction. It's like electricity. It'll just do what it does until you have it do something different, right? And then people say, well, why do priests then heal? How can they bring people back from being near dead? How can they set bones? Well, priest magic is different. They both use the same force in the world, magic. But priests have a connection to their God. So when they pray for healing, it's not them doing the healing, it's their God or the agents, like the angels of their gods, who's helping them direct the magic to properly heal. And gods and their angels understand how to do that, whereas mages do not. And that's the difference between as one person put it, atheist magic versus religious magic. And that, they're using the same power, but where a mage has to direct it from his own knowledge and experience, the priest is drawing from his God's knowledge and experience, which is far greater than any man can be. And that's why priests heal, but James does not. And there's a lot of questions also about, well, why doesn't James do this with magic? Why doesn't James do that with magic? Well, he needs to have confidence that he can do it. He needs to believe that he can do it. And it's easy to say, yeah, well, why doesn't he just create a spell to, wrap himself in a bubble all the time? Well, maybe he's tried that. And maybe he thinks that it wouldn't be worth the power drain, because if magic is continuous, either you have to supply the entire amount of magic it's going to need for the duration of the spell, or it's going to draw from you continuously until it ends. And the initial draw to supply with all the power, if it drains you completely, you're dead, because if all the magic is gone, life ends. And if it continuously drains from you, well, that could cause you to do it too. It cause you to get weaker, cause you to not be able to do other things. And so he doesn't like doing long-term spells. Of course, he's gotten around that because he's learned how to leech magic from the world, create crystals to store magic, and all that. But going back to the original question about healing, I mean, if he got a cut, he could probably, he would probably envision, sutures sealing it closed and letting the body heal, and that's fine. But anything major, a broken bone, could you set your own arm with no medical knowledge and do it properly? I don't think so. And he may be able to, and people may argue that, well, yes, he could. But if James doesn't think so, and he doesn't, then he can't. Because you have to believe you can do it, or magic just will not work for you. Anyway, I hope that answers the questions. If you have any other questions, put them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer. Y'all take care. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. If you do those things, then the algorithm will spread this farther and wider, and we'll get more people interested. You all take care.